So let's talk about Insecure. I watch Insecure like every other black person under 32. The show is enjoyable because in spite of the fact that we know that this is fantasy, it feels like it could be real. A part of that is the show's ability to capture the voice of contemporary digital black culture. That's why you see all these arguments on Twitter every Sunday night. Now, it might rely on that voice a little bit too much, but the conversations are fun. The latest hot conversation is about the way that the show depicts black women's sexuality in episode 6 of season 2 called Hella Blows. There's this scene at an event called Sexplosion where Issa, Molly, Tiffany, and Kelly discuss black women and oral sex.
Or I could just teach the class myself.
Okay, Tim. You got it like that.
I love it. I mean, Derek loves it more, obvi, but I am stellar.
Well, I don't suck dick. Ever since Jaleel White, not the famous one, and his musty balls in the 11th grade, never again. Not this mouth.
Yeah, I don't really partake either. I have big teeth, and honestly, I'm not the best at it.
Exactly why I signed us up.
And plus, the whole eye contact and the spitting, it's just too intimate. Like, I have to really fuck with you to put your dick in my mouth.
But you don't mind if a guy puts his dick in you?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand black women and their hang-ups about oral sex.
Oh, shut your light-skinned ass up.
I used to feel like guys see black women as disposable after you give them head. Like you're forever a hoe if you do it.
Oh, so I'm the hoe in this situation.
I blame the church, the black church.
Kelly, you can't use that for everything.
It's okay. You know, I don't mind giving head. I don't lead with it, but if you go down to me first, I will return the favor.
Ladies, I'm so disappointed in you.
Bitch, shut up. You went to those all-white girl private schools, so you're brainwashed, Becky.
You mean Becky with the good ring? Yeah. Why do you think black men are out here chasing after white women?
Later, Issa meets up with her casual bae, Daniel. She decides to show off her new oral sex skills, and then she gets really upset when he ejaculates on her face.
What the fuck?
Oh shit, you need to tie?
Are you fucking serious right now?
What?
Did you really just do that in my fucking
What?
face?
You were into it. I mean, I was into it. I mean, good job. Like,
Why the, what? Are you, what? Are you serious?
Calm down, calm down.
Touch me.
What's the problem? I mean, I thought we were having fun. Like, you seemed like you was down for whatever.
Really? I didn't ask for this.
I didn't ask you to suck my dick.
Fuck you.
Ease.
Now, a lot of people were not feeling this episode. Writer Angelica Bastian wrote at Vulture, "Nothing about the writing of this episode feels fresh, layered, or fully considerate of the modern sexual mores of black women." Now, I did agree with her at first, but I've had some time to think about it, and I've also read comments from the writers of the episode, Regina Hicks and Ben Corey Jones, and now my mind has changed. The writers of this show were trying to do a few different things here. Now, they definitely did not do them all perfectly, but I'm not willing to write it all off as regressive. This episode definitely does not represent every single black millennial woman's experiences or thoughts on oral sex. Certainly does not represent mine. But we've got to go back to the central question. What are the modern sexual mores of black women? If we believe black women are not a monolith, how can we say that we are over the oral sex hang-up? That's probably not true. In fact, some of these attitudes are probably a lot more common than we think. This performance of a completely uninhibited, carefree sexuality is incentivized because of our obsession with rejecting respectability politics and our immersion into a pornographic culture. But let's be real, the sexual stakes are still much higher for black women, and we often run into double standards at the intersections of race, gender, class, and sexuality. I mean, there's a reason that there are no black Kim Kardashians. And Insecure just barely touches on this on the ways that they talk about and depict white women having sex. In the episode, Issa says Tiffany performs oral sex so enthusiastically because she grew up around white girls. Now, we know black folks do everything, but it's too easy to interpret that as just about respectability. It's also a comment on how young white girls get to explore their sexualities without being burdened by sexual racism. sexism. For some context, in Black feminist thought, Patricia Hill Collins talks about how symbolic and structural heterosexism renders Black women's sexual expression unnatural and dirty. Collins argues that heterosexism operates as a system of oppression that deems one form of sexual expression as normal. Before I read the book, I thought of heterosexism as just discrimination against the LGBT communities. But she explains that because of our race and gender, Black women's sexualities are automatically deemed deviant in white supremacist capitalist patriarchy. Black women don't ever really get the opportunity to have, quote, healthy sex lives. Our response to that has been silence and shaming. Black women police ourselves as a form of protection. Now, if you're a Black woman who's lucky enough to not have internalized respectability messages about sex or your body, good for you. This is a half-hour comedy, so we've got to be reasonable. They're not going to touch on everything, but I did see this as the show trying to get at the cultural and historical baggage that Black girls and women carry about sex. I've never had a conversation about how giving head is for white girls like Issa's crew did at Sexplosion, but let's be real. There are cultural myths about white women's sexual proclivities, and you've probably heard them. I mean, Plies has a whole song called Becky about oral sex, and Becky ain't Black. Insecure did not make that up. And on top of that, Issa's mentioning of Black men's complicity in Black women's sexual hang-ups. She says she used to feel like Black men looked at Black women like they're hoes after they perform oral sex. So what we have in this episode is these women trying to navigate shame, cultural and historical baggage, and socialization that tells you that if you're not good at sex, if sex with you is not amazing, then your vagina is broken. Issa is insecure as hell. I mean, you know, duh. That's how we get all those cringe-inducing sex scenes. Issa, like Tracy of Chewing Gum, approaches sex like a little kid, but she doesn't have the privilege of innocence. Issa wants to have this hoe phase. She's trying to get in hoe-tation, but she also doesn't want to be a hoe. That doesn't add up. She is not going to be able to be about that hoe life until she works through it. But doing the emotional work to have a healthy sex life sounds too much like right. So that's how we get a scene where Issa is trying to be fun and carefree, so she goes down on Daniel, and we know that she has all this baggage around oral sex, and so it feels like a move more of desperation than genuine sexual curiosity, which is a disaster. Now, I don't think Daniel did anything wrong. Sex is awkward, accidents happen, bodily functions are normal, and I don't think people should apologize for them. Ejaculate can only go but so many places. And again, this is why people need to be in healthy emotional space before they have sex, because all that reaction was not just about Daniel. That was misplaced frustration about everything that's going wrong in Issa's life. Issa's response in that situation makes perfect sense to me. Ejaculate on her face is just another reminder of how she lacks control. There are so many layers to all this stuff Insecure dredged up. You know, I talked to an older Black feminist this week, and she discussed how the way that sex is portrayed on the show kind of makes her raise an eyebrow, and she's not a prude. I think that's a good thing. The way that we're talking about sex and showing it explicitly is a welcome departure from the silence and shame that so many of us have been taught. That way of being in the world just doesn't make sense anymore. But what the show does underscore is that all of our sexual conversations are not liberatory. We live in a hypersexualized culture, a culture where freakiness is a new expectation. But what has that gotten us? Do we know more about our bodies? Are we better able to ask questions? Are we more empowered to express our desires to our sexual partners? Are we having better sex? I'm not sure. If we're real about our stuff, a lot of us are out here making poor choices sexually and otherwise. Issa is 29 and still doing some absurd stuff. But she's not the only one. I'm 28 and sometimes I'm like, Kim, what are you doing? I don't know. The fact is, we're all still figuring it out. Your life doesn't magically gel at 23. I actually love that this show is depicting that messiness. Anyway, it's fun to talk about Insecure because we're all just projecting our damage onto these people. And I have to note that this is why Black feminism is so necessary, right? Like the robust, empowering kind, not the I love men so much kind. Because it offers us new and better tools to make good decisions. And it helps us to question the structures that guide us to do dumb stuff. Insecure. It's an interesting show. Watch it. Well, that is all I got. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, subscribe, and leave a tip.